Welcome to the Elder Wisdom and Strength channel. I'm truly glad you've joined me today. Whether you're watching this with your morning coffee, getting ready to start your day, or maybe reflecting on how you've been feeling lately, you're in the right place. Because today, we're going to talk about something that affects every one of us after 65, how we start our mornings. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever woken up feeling just off? Like your body's heavy, your joints are stiff, your thoughts a little foggy? Maybe you've been noticing that your mornings just don't feel as energetic or positive as they once did. You get out of bed, go through the motions, but you're not quite there. You're not feeling the motivation, the mood, or the energy you hoped for. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know, first of all, you are not alone. And second of all, you can change that. After 65, how we start our mornings plays a much bigger role in our overall health and happiness than most people realize. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. How much energy you'll have, how your body will feel, and even how your mind will respond to challenges or stress. And the best part? You don't need a fancy routine or expensive supplements to change this. All it takes is a little intention and a few simple habits that are designed with you in mind. This video is not about chasing youth. It's not about forcing yourself to do intense workouts or overhauling your diet overnight. It's about something more meaningful, learning how to care for yourself in a way that brings you energy and joy as soon as the day begins. Because let's face it, aging comes with its own set of challenges. Our bodies don't bounce back as quickly. Sleep can become unpredictable, and aches and fatigue can sneak up without warning. But that doesn't mean you have to start every day dragging your feet and just waiting for bedtime again. I know mornings can feel hard sometimes. Maybe you live alone and the quiet feels a little too loud. Or maybe you live with family and the pace of the household makes it hard to focus on yourself. You may be dealing with physical discomfort, grief, or just the feeling that life isn't quite what it used to be. That's real. That's valid. And that's why this conversation matters. Because the habits you create each morning aren't just about physical health. They're about emotional resilience, mental clarity, and the peace that comes from knowing you're doing something kind for yourself. In this video, I'll be sharing 3 morning habits that are designed specifically for those of us navigating life after 65. These aren't general tips pulled from a magazine written for people half your age. These are practical, realistic actions you can take, right in your home, that can help you feel more energized, balanced, and emotionally uplifted. They're backed by science, supported by doctors, and most importantly, tested by real people just like you who have found joy and strength in the little things. We're going to talk about how your body wakes up, how your mind sets its rhythm for the day, and how even a small shift in your morning behavior can lead to big changes in your health over time. You'll learn how a few minutes of gentle movement can reawaken your muscles and improve circulation. We'll explore a simple hydration habit that helps fight fatigue from the moment you rise. And we'll look at how your mindset, what you feed your brain in those first waking minutes, can either lift you up or weigh you down. These are habits that are easy to do, easy to remember, and most importantly, easy to enjoy. Because that's what I want for you. Not just to get through the day, but to enjoy the day. To feel like your energy isn't drained before noon. To feel like your mood is lighter, your body is looser, and your mind is a little more at peace. That's possible. And you don't have to wait months to feel it. Many people notice a difference in just a few days of doing these simple practices. And before we go further, let me say this. It's never too late to create new habits. I don't care if you're 66 or 86, your body and brain still respond to change. In fact, as we age, we become even more sensitive to the benefits of positive routines. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. Willing to show up for yourself. Willing to take 5 minutes in the morning to say, I matter. My health matters. My mood matters. And you'll be amazed at how that small shift can echo through the rest of your day. So if you've been feeling sluggish, uninspired, or just not quite yourself when you wake up, I want to reassure you. There is a way to change that. And it doesn't require medication or massive changes. Just small, gentle steps forward. Steps that will make you feel more like you again. Stick with me, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what these morning habits look like, why they work, and how you can start them as soon as tomorrow. I'll guide you every step of the way with encouragement, stories, and down-to-earth advice that respects where you are right now, not where someone else thinks you should be. So go ahead and settle in. Whether you're watching this from your phone, your TV, or your tablet, you've already taken the first step just by being here. You're choosing to care for yourself, to learn something new, and to take back a little more control over how your days begin. Let's get started. If you've been waking up feeling drained, stiff, or just not quite yourself, you're not imagining it. These are real common challenges for people over 65, and they can take a real toll, not just on your mornings, but on your entire day. The truth is, as we age, the way our body starts the day changes. The same habits that worked in our 30s and 40s don't always serve us anymore. And if we don't adjust, we risk losing energy, clarity, and even motivation. Think about it for a moment. How often do you get up in the morning and feel like your body is a few steps behind? Your legs feel stiff. Your balance might be a little shaky. It takes longer to stand up straight. You might even feel dizzy for a second or two. That's your body trying to catch up, because aging naturally slows everything down. Blood flow is a little less efficient, joints are less lubricated, and the body's ability to regulate itself, especially after sleep, starts to decline. But that's just the physical side. Mentally, mornings can feel heavy too. Some people wake up with anxiety. Others feel low or emotionally flat. Maybe you've felt it. That strange mix of emptiness and resistance, like you know you should get up and start your day, but it's hard to find the why. This is more common than most people talk about, especially for older adults who are retired or living alone. Without a strong morning rhythm, it's easy to feel like your day has no momentum before it even begins. And here's the thing, many people ignore these feelings. They chalk it up to aging, or think it's just the way things are. You might have heard someone say, "Well, that's just what happens when you get older." But that kind of thinking can be dangerous, because when you accept fatigue, low energy, and mood swings as normal, you start to lower your expectations for what's possible. You begin to believe that feeling tired, stiff, or mentally foggy is inevitable. And that belief can keep you from making changes that could genuinely improve your life. A lot of this starts with how you begin your day. If your first moments after waking up are rushed, chaotic, or sluggish, your nervous system feels it. Your brain registers stress. Your body holds on to tension. And instead of starting with calm and clarity, you start with resistance. You're already behind before you've even poured your first cup of coffee. Let me share a story. A gentleman named Harold, 74, used to wake up and go straight to his recliner, sit there in silence, and stare at the television for the first hour of his day. He told me that by 10 a.m., he still felt like he hadn't started. His energy was low and his mood followed it. But when he began introducing just one gentle habit, drinking a full glass of water and stretching his arms and legs before leaving the bedroom, he started noticing a change. After a week, he said he was more alert. After 2 weeks, he was walking around the block again. That small shift gave his body a signal: we're awake now, and we're ready to move. The reason stories like Harold's matter is because they show how much power we really do have, no matter our age. But too often, we ignore the signals. We normalize feeling bad. We let things slide, thinking, that's just part of getting older. But let me be clear, it doesn't have to be. Yes, our bodies change. Yes, our energy is different than it was at 40. But it's still there. And how we start our day determines how much of it we get to use. The consequences of ignoring this can go far beyond a grumpy morning. Chronic fatigue in seniors has been linked to higher risks of depression, falls, and even cardiovascular issues. When you wake up and stay in a low-energy state, your muscles don't activate properly. Your heart rate stays sluggish, and your brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to stay sharp. That can affect memory, reaction time, and even your appetite for the rest of the day. And let's not forget about emotional well-being. Mornings can be a vulnerable time emotionally, especially for seniors who may have lost a spouse or whose children live far away. The first moments of the day can bring a wave of loneliness. If you don't have a reason to get up and feel engaged, it's easy to spiral into negative thoughts. That's why a structured, intentional morning routine is not just a physical tool. It's an emotional anchor. But many people don't take action because they assume the fix has to be big. That's not true. It doesn't take an hour-long yoga session or a complete change in lifestyle. It just takes a few gentle choices made in the right order. And the reason we're focusing on morning habits in this video is because that's when your body is most open to setting its rhythm. Your hormones, your digestion, your brain chemistry, they're all waking up, and the first things you do either support that process or disrupt it. So why do we overlook this? Sometimes it's because we're stuck in the same habits we've had for years. Waking up, reaching for the coffee, skipping breakfast, turning on the news, and bracing for the day. Other times, it's because we've forgotten how much power we actually have. Aging can make people feel like they're losing control. But these small choices, they're yours, and they're powerful. I also think people avoid making changes because they don't believe it will really make a difference. They think, will stretching really give me more energy? Or, is a glass of water really going to help my mood? But when those changes become habits, the answer is yes. Because consistency is what heals. It's not about one perfect day. It's about a series of small, kind decisions that add up over time. And if no one has told you this lately, let me say it now. You are still allowed to feel good in your body. You are still allowed to wake up with energy. You are still allowed to enjoy your mornings. That hasn't expired just because your age has a 7 or an 8 in front of it. You deserve mornings that begin with peace, clarity, and a sense of purpose. So if your mornings have been feeling like something to get through, I want to encourage you to think differently. Your mornings can be your reset button. They can be a time to reconnect with yourself, to breathe, to move gently, and to feel truly alive. The issues we've talked about, low energy, mental fog, emotional heaviness, are not the end of the story. They're just signals. And now that you understand them, you're ready to do something about it. Let's talk next about the real changes you can make. The morning habits that can lift your energy, brighten your mood, and help you feel like your day belongs to you again. Now that we've explored how important your mornings really are and why feeling sluggish or low isn't something to ignore, let's take a moment to tune in a little deeper. What is your body really telling you in those first few moments of the day? Because sometimes it's not just about being tired. There are signs, small but powerful, that your body, your mind, and your spirit are asking for something different. The question is, are you noticing them? One of the most common signs is waking up feeling unrested, even after a full night's sleep. You may go to bed at a decent hour, sleep for 7 or 8 hours, and still wake up feeling like you never quite recharged. This can be a clear indicator that your sleep is shallow or interrupted. It could be related to medication side effects, undiagnosed sleep apnea, or simply not winding down properly before bed. But it also tells you something important about your mornings. Your body needs more support to fully turn on and get moving. Another sign is stiffness, especially in the joints, back, or legs. If you feel like it takes effort just to get out of bed, or if you find yourself holding on to furniture as you move around your home first thing in the morning, your body is signaling reduced circulation and mobility. That stiffness is a gentle alarm clock from your muscles, telling you they need warmth, movement, and attention. Ignoring that sign only makes it worse over time, leading to reduced range of motion and even increased fall risk. And what about your mind? If you often wake up with a heavy head, mental fog, or feel emotionally numb in the early hours, that's not just a slow morning. That can be a sign of something deeper, perhaps poor oxygenation during sleep, low blood sugar, or even low-grade depression. Many older adults assume this mental heaviness is just a natural part of getting older. But it's not something to accept without question. Your mind is still capable of sharpness, of lightness, and of feeling good. If you consistently feel like your thoughts are slow or scattered in the morning, it's time to respond. Not by pushing through, but by giving your brain what it's asking for. Better rest, better fuel, and a more peaceful transition into the day. Now, let's talk about mood. Do you wake up already feeling irritable or low? You haven't even gotten out of bed yet, but there's this weight in your chest. This quiet sense that the day ahead feels like a burden rather than an opportunity. That emotional heaviness can creep in subtly, but over time, it becomes your new normal. And that is something we want to shift. Because when your mornings start in a dark emotional place, the rest of your day has to work harder to pull you out of it. And here's something else to consider. How often do you skip breakfast? Or worse, grab something sugary just to have something in your stomach? Low morning energy is often tied directly to blood sugar imbalances. After 65, our bodies don't process sugars and starches the way they used to. That means if you're waking up and not eating, or eating the wrong things, your energy will spike briefly and crash hard. You might feel alert at first and then be dragging by 9 or 10 a.m. That's not a character flaw. That's chemistry. And it can be changed with a smarter habit or two. Some signs are emotional too. A lack of motivation to get dressed. A growing disinterest in your usual morning routines. Maybe you used to make the bed, open the blinds, or step outside for a few breaths of fresh air. And now it just feels like too much trouble. That kind of emotional withdrawal is not just about laziness or mood. It can be an early sign of emotional fatigue or even social isolation. If mornings have started to feel meaningless, that's a clear message. Your spirit is asking for connection, rhythm, and a reason to move forward. I remember speaking to a woman named Jean who shared that after her husband passed away, her mornings became the hardest part of her day. She'd lie in bed long after waking up, just staring at the ceiling, feeling like there was no point in getting up. Eventually, she began to introduce just one small ritual, a 5-minute journal she kept by her bedside. Each morning, she wrote down one thing she was grateful for and one thing she was looking forward to. Some days, it was as simple as seeing the sunrise or hearing from her granddaughter. That small practice helped her shift her focus from absence to presence. And with time, she said, her mornings stopped feeling so lonely. These signs, physical fatigue, stiffness, mental fog, emotional heaviness, are all ways your body is asking for care. They're not just the price of aging, they are signals. And when you pay attention to them, you open the door to healing. When you ignore them, they get louder, more persistent, and more draining. But when you respond with gentleness and structure, your body responds too. The science backs this up. Studies show that older adults who adopt even one consistent morning habit, like stretching, hydration, or a quiet moment of reflection, report better mood, fewer aches, and more motivation throughout the day. Your body is remarkably adaptive, even in your 70s or 80s. But it needs a reason to engage. It needs a nudge, a gentle, loving cue that says, it's time to start. And you don't have to do it all at once. Recognizing these signs is the first, most important step. When you understand what's behind your fatigue, your stiffness, or your emotional fog, you can begin to care for yourself in ways that make sense. You can stop blaming yourself for feeling tired and start giving your body the support it's quietly been asking for. Let me say something clearly here. You deserve mornings that feel good. You deserve mornings that start with intention and peace, not pain and resistance. And it doesn't matter how long it's been since you felt that way. It's not too late. It's never too late. So now that you know what signs to look for, what your body might be telling you through fatigue, fog, and emotional heaviness, let's move forward. Let's talk about the solutions. The morning habits that will not only lift those symptoms, but help you reclaim your energy, boost your mood, and feel in control of your day again. Now that we've listened to the signals your body may be sending, those quiet but persistent signs of fatigue, stiffness, and emotional heaviness, let's talk about what you can actually do about it. Because the truth is, those signals aren't just warnings, they're invitations. Invitations to treat your body and mind with a bit more care, a bit more structure, and a bit more kindness, especially in the first moments of the day. You don't need to overhaul your life or wake up at 5 in the morning to feel better. All it takes are a few small shifts, morning habits that are realistic, effective, and designed specifically for people over 65. These aren't trendy routines pulled from social media. These are time-tested, doctor-recommended, and most importantly, doable steps that can help you feel stronger, lighter, and more in control of your day. Let's start with something incredibly simple: hydration. When you wake up in the morning, your body is naturally dehydrated. You've gone 6 to 8 hours without any water, and that alone can cause stiffness, dizziness, and mental fog. A glass of water, about 8 to 12 ounces, first thing in the morning can make a bigger difference than you'd expect. Not cold, not with lemon, just plain room temperature water. It rehydrates your cells, helps your digestion wake up, and supports circulation. Some people even notice that their joint stiffness lessens once they start this habit consistently. Now imagine starting every day with that simple gesture. Before coffee, before breakfast, before anything else, you nourish your body with the one thing it needs most: water. And in doing that, you send a signal to your brain and your nervous system that today, you are caring for yourself. You're not rushing. You're not pushing through. You're beginning with presence. The second habit is gentle movement. And I want to be very clear here. We are not talking about exercise in the traditional sense. No weights, no machines, no complicated routines. I'm talking about 3 to 5 minutes of intentional movement to wake up the body. It could be slow stretching while you're still seated at the edge of your bed. It could be rolling your shoulders, lifting your arms over your head, turning your neck gently side to side. Or it could be standing and doing a few light marches in place while holding onto a sturdy surface. This kind of movement helps your circulation, brings warmth to your joints, and increases oxygen to your brain. It's especially powerful for those who feel unsteady in the mornings. I once worked with a man named Louis, 78 years old, who used to feel dizzy every time he got out of bed. He started doing just 3 minutes of ankle circles and shoulder rolls before standing up. And within a few days, his balance improved. Why? Because his body was no longer being forced to go from 0 to 60. He was easing into the day, and his body thanked him for it. Now let's move to the third habit: mental activation. This is one that often gets overlooked. We think of the morning as a time for physical readiness, but we forget how important it is to engage the mind in a positive, calm, and focused way. What you feed your mind in the morning shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you interact with the world around you for the rest of the day. And here's the hard truth. Many people wake up and go straight to the news, straight to the noise, straight to their phone or TV, where they're met with headlines, opinions, and stress. That kind of input first thing in the morning triggers your nervous system. It doesn't energize you. It overwhelms you. It puts your body in a low-grade state of tension before you've even had breakfast. Instead, what if you gave yourself just 5 minutes of mental peace? That could be reading a daily devotional, listening to a calming piece of music, sitting quietly with your coffee and watching the sunrise, or writing a short gratitude note. Just 1 or 2 sentences about what you're thankful for or what you're looking forward to. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your focus so your mind starts the day on your terms, not the world's. A woman named Carol, 69, told me that every morning she lights a small candle and sits in her kitchen with her journal. She writes down one thought, one prayer, or one memory that makes her smile. She says it gives her day a kind of emotional anchor, something steady, even if the rest of the day feels uncertain. That's the kind of habit that doesn't just boost mood, it nourishes the soul. So those are the 3 morning habits: hydrate, move gently, and feed your mind with peace. Simple, right? But don't let the simplicity fool you. These are foundational practices. They touch the most important systems in your body: your nervous system, your muscles, your digestive tract, and your mental health. And when done together, they create a powerful ripple effect throughout your entire day. You might not notice a dramatic shift on the first day, but give it a week. You'll likely feel a little clearer, a little stronger, a little more like yourself. And the beauty of these habits is that they build on each other. 1 good morning becomes 2, 2 become 5, and before you know it, you've created a rhythm, a new normal that actually feels good. You're not too old to feel good. You're not too late to start new habits. And you don't need anyone's permission to care for yourself in this way. You've spent a lifetime doing for others. Now it's your turn. This is your moment to rise, not just out of bed, but into a day that feels intentional and calm and centered around you. Let me say this again. It doesn't take hours, it doesn't take money, and it doesn't take perfection. It just takes a willingness to begin. And these 3 morning habits are the perfect place to start. Let's take a moment and breathe this in. Because if you've made it this far, you've already done something powerful. You've taken time to learn, to reflect, and to consider how your mornings could be more than just the start of another day. They could be the beginning of a new rhythm, one that supports your energy, your mood, and your overall well-being in ways that truly matter after 65. We've walked through the signs your body may be sending: the fatigue, the stiffness, the mental fog, and that quiet emotional weight that sometimes settles in before you even leave the bed. And we've talked about why these signs aren't just symptoms of aging to accept and ignore, but gentle nudges from your body asking for care, consistency, and attention. More importantly, we've uncovered how these signals can actually be soothed and transformed with just 3 simple morning habits. Drink water as soon as you wake to rehydrate your system and get your blood flowing. Move your body gently to ease stiffness, support balance, and invite in a little strength. And engage your mind with something peaceful and grounding, something that reminds you that this day, like every day, is still a gift. These aren't difficult practices. They don't require special tools or expensive subscriptions. They just need a few moments, a bit of intention, and the belief that you are worth the effort. And you are. I want you to remember that. You might be thinking, I'm not sure I can stick with it, or I've tried things like this before and given up. That's okay. You're human. The goal isn't perfection, it's persistence. If you miss a day, that doesn't mean you've failed. It just means you're finding your pace. It's not about how flawlessly you follow a routine. It's about how kindly you return to it, day by day, choosing yourself over and over again. And here's why it matters so deeply. When you create structure in your morning, you create stability in your life. You remind your body that you're still in charge. You remind your heart that each day still holds promise. And you remind your mind that no matter your age, you are still capable of change, growth, and joy. Think about the people who matter to you. Your children, your grandchildren, your friends. Think about the version of yourself you want to show up as for them. Someone who's not just surviving the day, but stepping into it with presence and strength. When you care for yourself first thing in the morning, you're not just improving your mood. You're increasing your ability to connect, to love, and to live with purpose. I had a conversation not long ago with a couple, James and Linda, both in their 70s, who started doing their morning routine together. Just 5 minutes of stretching, a shared cup of water before coffee, and a quiet moment where they shared one thing they were grateful for. They told me it not only made their mornings better, it deepened their relationship. Their days had more flow, fewer arguments, and more laughter. That's the power of a simple habit. it ripples outward. So I invite you now to ask yourself, what will tomorrow morning look like for you? What if you woke up and gave yourself just 10 minutes before the noise, before the screens, before the rush of the world? What if you started the day with your body in motion, your mind at peace, and your heart reminded that you still matter deeply? Because you do. And you don't have to do it alone. This channel, Elder Wisdom and Strength, is here for you. Every week, I'll be sharing more practical, compassionate advice just like this to help you take charge of your health, your energy, and your life. If today's message resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe so you never miss a new video designed just for you and this meaningful chapter of life you're in. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend or loved one who might be struggling with their mornings. You never know whose life might shift because you took the time to pass along something good. I also welcome you to leave a comment below. Share what your mornings are like or what habit you're most excited to try. Let's make this a space where wisdom is shared, where support is felt, and where we all rise together. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I know there are many voices out there, and I'm honored that you chose to listen to mine. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be. And tomorrow morning, you have the power to begin again, with purpose, with strength, and with just a little more peace. Wishing you calm mornings, clear minds, and the kind of energy that makes each day feel like a fresh start. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. See you next time.